we're going to talk about how we find the equation of a perpendicular line and graph it. Please remember, a perpendicular line means that they meet at a 90-degree angle. That's the symbol for perpendicular. Now, the first thing I would do, and we're going to start with the red here, and I'm going to find the perpendicular line at the kind of big indicated point. So basically, it's going to intersect. We're going to have a line that's doing this, intersecting and meeting at a 90 degree at this point, 3, 4. Okay, so maybe I'll just write down what the point is. The point is 3, 4 that I'm interested in. And the first thing I should do is I should find the slope. So if I do that and I say, well, slope is rise over run. So it went up 1 and over 3. My slope is 1/3. Now, we talked previously in a video about a parallel line. A parallel line would have the exact same slope. It would be 1/3. A perpendicular line is the reciprocal, and reciprocal means that the fraction will flip to be 3 over 1, and it also is the opposite sign. So in this case, my slope was a positive 1/3, so my perpendicular slope will be negative 3 over 1. Now I'm going to write it that way, and I'm going to use my point slope form here, so y minus the y coordinate equals negative 3 over 1, and then x minus my x piece. Now, obviously, negative 3 over 1, we don't ever write it that way, because negative 3 divided by 1 is just 3, so we would just say it's negative 3. Okay? Now, the reason it's the opposite and reciprocal, the reason that that's what we do really has to do with creating a 90-degree rotation. And you're going to learn about translations later, but the idea really is if I took this existing line and I said I wanted to rotate it 90 degrees, to basically take this and like move it up 90 degrees so it would still include that point, the way you do it is that translation is you switch x and y and then change the sign. So that's what we've done, is we've changed, the sign to be a negative, and then we've also changed x and y by reversing, which was the rise and run. Instead of 1 over 3, it became 3 over 1. Okay? Now, it's not necessarily something you need to remember the reason or the proof, but you do need to know that that's how we create a perpendicular line, is by changing the sign and then doing the reciprocal. So opposite reciprocal. Let me clean this up, because I know there are people out there that are giant fans of slope-intercept form. So if I distribute, get the 9, and then I would add 4. So I would have y equals negative 3x plus 13. Now, it's hard, of course, because we can't really see the 13. That's not on the graph. But let's just think about that slope of negative 3 from this kind of given point. If I went down 3 and over 1, and I connected those, I think you can see that that's going to be perpendicular, right? From that point, if I just kind of marked my slope, that the rise over run was down 3 and over 1. All right, let's do the blue one next. The point of interest here is 1, negative 3. And let's find the slope. So we said, well, the rise, it went down 2 and over 1. So the slope is negative 2 over 1. Normally, of course, we just say negative 2. But remember, I'm going to need the reciprocal of this. So my perpendicular line would be y minus negative 3 equals, now, my slope was negative 2. So the first thing I do, it's going to be positive. The perpendicular is going to have the opposite sign. And then instead of 2 over 1, it's going to be 1 over 2. And then x minus 1. So y plus 4 equals 1/2 x minus 1. And again, you could distribute this if you wanted. You could say, well, y plus 4 equals 1/2 x minus 1/2. Subtract 4 from both sides. Let's see, negative 1/2 minus 8/2. So y is 1/2 x minus 9/2. Now let me just start from this point, and let me just show you, what we did last time. Let's say we just said, starting from this point, let's just draw a slope of 1/2, which means rise of 1, run of 2. And you connected that, I think you can see, it definitely looks perpendicular. So again, the reason for this really comes down to a translation. There are other calculus ways to think about it, having to do with what's called a dot product, or thinking about the way that the two slopes have to multiply together to prove they're perpendicular. But for now, you can just think about it like it's a translation and memorize that the way we create a perpendicular line is to reverse the sign. If it was positive, we make it negative. If it was negative, we make it positive, and do the reciprocal. So flip the x and the change in x and change in y, flip those as we did here. You know, this was the slope, our original was 1/3. We made it a negative, and then 3/1. This slope was -2 of my original line, so we made it positive and then made it 1/2. If this video helped you, please like and subscribe for more content. I've got an entire playlist being made on geometry. Have a great day. Really enjoy it.